There we go. Good morning. Greetings and salutations. A little bit of technical difficulty, but now we're back. Okay. Hi, hi, hi. Is anyone here with me? Hey Pam, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. I think you must be new here. So if you are, if you would follow and like Corbiere-Scott Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, I would greatly appreciate that. And then once you've followed and liked me on those platforms, be sure to ask to join Let's Get Artsy with Corbiere-Scott, because that's the greatest. It's just the greatest artsy community you can imagine. We do lots of artsy stuff here. A lot of painting, a lot of card making, a lot of chit-chatting, all kinds of things like that. So, where do you live, Pam? What state are you in? Hey, Nance, how are you? Good morning, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. Are you ready to get artsy this morning, Nancy? I sure am. I've had some big ideas, so I'm ready to go. I think the other day it was Jan who asked if we could do like a wash of color for the background and then enhance it. So I thought we could do it two different ways. And so I hadn't played with my Colorbursts for a while, and so that's what I was thinking I would play with today. Remember we talked about just pull out those art supplies that you have just lying around and that you haven't used in a while, and oh my gosh, the artsy possibilities are endless. Endless, endless, endless. Did my first video get deleted, you guys? I hope so. Hi, Donna. How are you this morning? Oh, what are your weekend projects? Oh, from class? Yay! Yay, yay, yay. I'm glad to hear it. So, let's get started. Hi, Carm. How are you? Let's get started with the first. I hope is everyone familiar with Colorbursts? So Colorbursts are a concentrated watercolor powder. Oh my gosh, Sue, I'm so glad. That was crazy, wasn't it? That was so crazy. So Colorbursts, you can apply them in a couple of different ways. And so I thought we would play with them. So I thought we would do one example with the Timmy art printable. And no, it's not like the Emperor's New Clothes. There really isn't anything printed here. We're going to print a background, or we're going to create a background, and then I'm going to print on top of that, and then we'll build and enhance on top of that. And then with the Charmaine art printable, we're going to paint with our Colorbursts. So that's cool, because Colorbursts, remember I've told you a million times, anything that's water soluble, you can make into a watercolor. So Colorbursts are water soluble, and you can make them into an amazing watercolor, because the colors are so vibrant and pretty. So so you can start in a couple of different ways. You can start by just tapping color onto your paper, or you can wet your paper and then tap color onto that. So you can tap water onto your, tap color onto your paper and then mist it with water and create some cool stuff. Or you can wet your background and then tap color onto it. So, and you know, there are other brands of these powdered pigments. I know that, oh, I can see it in my mind's eye. Oh, I'm not going to remember it. It'll just come back to me. So I'm going to try, because I most often just tap color and then spritz it. But this time, let's try the water, starting out with a watery background. So I'm going to take a big brush. This is a 1-inch, that's a dirty brush. That's what that is. Yes, they're exactly the same thing. That's exactly the same thing. So let's take a big, let's get a clean paper. And we're just going to get water all over it, right? Yeah, so just know that, you know, like everything, you don't have to have exactly what I have. I mean, you can certainly buy them if you want, but I don't ever want people to feel like they have to have what I have. Do you know what I mean? We can create with all kinds of things. And if you don't have anything like the Colorburst, oh my gosh, you can absolutely just create some cool backgrounds with just watercolors. Just paint your base with color, and then, so this is like that, like the background I created. Remember when I did, oh, this is awful curly. When I did the, where I watercolored it and then I printed it on it, that's kind of what I'm going for today, but just in a little bit different way. So I'm just going to create some lots of colors on here, and then I really feel like I want to make it, like, I feel like I really want to squirt this with water. I'm feeling like. Let's get some purple on there. Oh, that was a lot. Oh well. All right, so now I'm going to, Colorbursts are just, oh, I just love them. Because you absolutely can't control what happens, right? They're just going to kind of do their thing. That purple is pretty dark, so I want to maybe move that around a little bit. Hi, Deb. Right, so if I'm feeling like this is kind of dark, because remember I still want to print on top of this, so I'm going to tap off some of this color. You know what? I could tap it off on this other sheet of watercolor. Then I'm not wasting my color. You know how I feel about wasting color, right? So let's pull that. Yep, that's looking a lot more like what I kind of want. So like I said, you can do this technique where you wet the paper first, right? Or you can tap color on it. Let's move that over. You can tap your colors onto your surface and then squirt that with water. And that's kind of cool too, because they you kind of don't know what's happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what color is going on here. And what I find the coolest about these the color of sin. What color is this? What color is sin? Is purple the color of sin? Oh, that's funny. What I find really interesting about Colorburst and any kind of pigment powders like this is it takes so many colors to create that color that's what kind of comes out in the, once you spray it, you'll start to see the all the colors that make that color. Okay, purple is the color of sin. It's Lucinda's favorite color. Oh, I can't wait to tell her that. Debbie, be sure and tell her that her favorite color is the color of sin. Okay. Now, so we have all kinds of color on here. Now we're going to just start to mist it. Doesn't it? Absolutely. It totally makes sense. And it makes me laugh. I love laughing at her expense. Isn't that the coolest, you guys? Isn't that the coolest? Like, I like it when it's like that, where there's like dots of color and swirls of color. I like it to be kind of all over the place. So I'm going to pull up some of this purple. I know, but I used that sinful color, Jan, because I wanted purple flowers. I should have not used it. You're right. That makes me laugh. Oh my God, that's so funny. That's so funny. That's what I was thinking, Jan. So let's see what happens if we tap a paper towel on it. So pull out some watercolor paper, Miss Debbie. So what I'm doing today, Deb, is I am making a background, and then oh, she's off sinning. That's why she's not here, Keely. So I'm going to create a background, let it dry completely, and then run it through my printer and play with that. That's kind of a cool idea. So, there we go. I don't know. I'm not loving it as much as I should. Oh, look at this giant mess I've made. I have powder and paint everywhere. And I still have another whole thing to paint. Doesn't it? Seriously. So, I think I'm kind of hating all of these. And I'll figure out something to do with them later. But I think I'm going to grab another sheet of watercolor paper, because I have it in abundance. And just, instead of trying to use all the colors like a fool, I'm going to set these aside to dry. and do a page, do a sheet with maybe just a couple of select colors. So, I'm thinking of the Timmy art printable. So maybe, what if I just do pink, orange, and yellow? So I have lemon yellow, marigold, and peony. Could you have cuter colors? I don't think so. So let's just try one color family. All right, Nance, well, we'll figure out a way to use those. So don't do like me and put all the colors, because that sinful purple, look what it did. Right? So I'm going to put my pink, orange, and yellow. And now I'm going to squirt. Much better, much better. And the cool thing about this, I think, is that it spreads and you don't even realize, like, it's just working, right? So let's, now I can add more powder. Right? I can just keep building the colors. Hey, Aunt Mer. All right, so I'm kind of digging this, but I don't like that big blob of wet in the middle. So I'm going to take my other paper towel and try and sop up some of that. And then I'm going to try and dry a big portion of it and then build. Because remember, we've had better luck sometimes when we create a layer, dry it, and then come back with, and then build on top of that layer, right? Colorbursts are not for the faint of heart, I'm just gonna say, because I think it came from the yellow. Isn't that crazy? I think it came from the yellow too. That's what I'm saying. Like, you just never know kind of what's coming out when when you're using powdered pigment. It's going to kind of be whatever it wants to be. I just love this kind of tie-dye-ish background, you know? Yeah, and try 3 harmonious colors, Nancy, like blue, green, and purple, or pink, yellow, and orange. I have a couple of sets of them, because when they first came out, they were all kind of they weren't bright colors. Though, I mean, the bright colors are kind of my jam, you know. If you just met me, you would say, really? But the first ones he came out were kind of more muted and more, I bet that's pretty. Oh, I bet that's pretty. Do I have violet? I do have violet. I do like Merlot though too. And ultramarine blue, that's so pretty, isn't it? Okay, this is starting to dry. Let's get rid of that big wet. And the one here. I'm kind of liking it because it's so, yes, they were kind of fall colors. There you go. That's a perfect way to describe them. So that's pretty. So I'm going to take one of these filthy paper towels and try and clean up this as best I can. I might even have a Clorox wipe around here. So we could build on this some more, or I could start the, you know what, I'm just using my 90-pound Kiehl's. I'm just using my 90-pound watercolor paper. So what I was thinking, so we can, this one's still got some wet spots, so. Now you hear me crunching my candy, sorry. I think this might be, well, let's see. I don't want any bumps. Okay, so now I'm going to, yeah, see there's a little bit of bumps on here of color pigment of the powders. Okay, so now I'm going to pull up the Timmy Art printable and I'm going to run it through my printer so you can see exactly what happens. Oops. Getting there, getting there, getting there. I'm putting my painted piece of paper in my printer. Now I'm going to print. Yay! I'm so excited. Come on. Swirling, swirling, swirling. Give me 1 sec. It's working. Oh, I'm so excited to see it. Okay. Shut up, you guys. Look at that. Don't you love it? So just the biggest tip is that it has to be completely dry for this to work, right? So now that I've done it and I'm slightly in love with it, I see some places that need color up here. So I can certainly add color. You can certainly, because this is a laser print, I can continue to build on this. Just know that just like any of the printables, if you have a inkjet, you just need to heat set it before you add more to it. If you are so inclined. I mean, you could just cut this in 4 and make 4 really cool cards. Because seriously, look at that. That's so pretty. But I think I want to do some more color up here. And I think I want to do more pinks. Now I'm going to squirt it and just know. Oh, you absolutely could foil it. And I just may. That's for sure. It's so pretty, you guys. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I just love it. So look at how, I mean, really, it was quite simple to do. Foiling would totally Oh boy, Jan, I knew there was a reason I kept you around. Like you could foil it in a color, you could foil it in gold, you could foil, I have some black foil and that's really cool because that just like really intensifies the black. So that's kind of cool. I have some iridescent stuff that might be cool because it would be, it would just totally give it a different, an entirely different vibe. So I'm going to set this one aside to dry because I've made it all wet again. But I want to show you how you can use them as watercolors on my art printables, and that's a cool thing. So, oh, this is wet. Okay, so now let's clean up this, like I keep saying, as best we can. So now I'm going to pull down the Charmaine art printable, and I want to use these as paints. So now I've pulled out my original set of, uh-oh, where did the cap for that go? My original set of Ken Oliver's colors, the ones that are more fall-like, which I think really work well with the with this artwork. So I'm going to, and remember this little palette is just from the dollar store, from the kids department. So I'm going to put some orange, some yellow ochre, so let's paint these today, and then Thursday let's make some cards. Some Merlot, that's an awful pretty color. Indigo, that'll be pretty. I need a green. I have phthalo green, and I think I want this one, the terre verte. And isn't it interesting, when this comes out, it looks brown in my palette, but watch when we add water. It's the craziest thing. These are just, can I just tell you, every single time I use these, it's like magic. Every time. Okay, so here's some yellow, orange. What was that one? Merlot, indigo. Look at that green. Crazy. Let's try some wisteria. That might be like a nice okay. Let's find a good brush. Okay, so silver black velvet, my fave. Okay, so I'm going to, let's start out with the yellow. So this is lemon yellow, and so let's make a little chart down here so we can see what we're dealing with. I hope that you can see that. Did I do lemon yellow or did I do yellow ochre? I think I did yellow ochre, now that I think about it. Okay, and then we did orange. That's pretty. This one is Merlot. Indigo. revert. That's a nice one. What is that? Which one was that? Violet or indigo? No. But you know what? Here's a burnt orange. That might be pretty with the orange. Because remember, this is just like any kind of watercolor. We can mix them. We can mix them on our substrate. We can mix them in on our palette. We can do all kinds of things. So let's mix that. Yep, because look how nice that goes with that. Beautiful. Okay, so now we can just start painting. So let's do this cluster maybe, or this cluster. So I'm going to start with the bright orange, and I want to do these. I don't know why these just lend themselves in my mind's eye to orange. And I like that, like it's not completely mixed, so like a little bit of the other pigments kind of come out in it. That's kind of cool. And really quite organic, and like we can't really control that. So now let's pull a little bit of that burnt orange and do the center. Look how pretty that is. While it's still wet, I'll just pull some of that. Ah, I'm loving that, you guys. So now let's try some more of it. Let's try it on these other flowers. Perfect. And then we'll come in with that, some of that burnt orange right around that center, and it just kind of pulls out. I love that. So pretty. So pretty. And then that burnt orange. Don't you love that it's like, I'm not even really working very hard for that blend. It's just kind of naturally happening because of the wet surface. But look how it's pulling right out. Like, I don't really need to blend anything. It's just kind of doing the work for me. So pretty. Okay, so let's pick another color. Let's pick the Merlot and the, what is it? Merlot and Wisteria. So is this Merlot? I think. Yeah. So let's try that as this flower here. Turn your paper, and honestly, and that's really, look how pretty that is. It totally looks like Merlot, doesn't it? Just that beautiful wine color. Love that. Okay, and now let's take that, I think this is the Wisteria. Yeah. And we're just gonna right around the center, just the same way. That's pretty. And we'll just let that set, and then we can fiddle around with it as we like. That has a little bit of blue in it. That's kind of cool. Like it just got a little blue stripe. That's cool. Now let's take some of this. So pretty. Mm-hmm. Hey, Sue. I have a couple of greens, I think. Well, what's this one? Yep. So I can do some of my greenery with this one. These are just like such rich jewel tones, aren't they? I just love that. And the crazy thing is, these are not my jam usually at all, but how can you argue with this for its total autumnal vibe, you know? It's so pretty. So we'll just get a coat of this on. And we can totally grow with this, right? We can fiddle around as much as we like. There we go. Now we need to figure out what we're gonna do with this big one and then these three littles and the centers from the palette that we have. So I'm feeling like this could kind of be goldenrodish, so we could totally do that. We could totally have this be gold, this the yellow ochre, and then these could be indigo, these three little sprigs right here, or I could do them vice versa. Good morning, Laura. Oh gosh, everybody, we need to take a drink. Let's do yellow ochre for the big one. I'm just feeling it. So I'm just going to jiggy-jaggy color on there. Kind of randomly, trying really hard to not let it touch any of the other wet paints, which means I should have dried this in between. So I think I'll do that now, because I feel like I really want to put a little bit of the orange in with this. Just kind of build some dimension. Oh, I have Colorburst everywhere. I'm feeling like the burnt orange is really, I'm really feeling that. And the purples, I'm really liking that, even though they're sin, even though they're all about the sin. But I really want something that just keeps that vibe going. And I don't know if indigo is the way to go. What do you guys think? My paper towels are so soaked in color that I'm afraid to use them anymore. I'm afraid they're gonna, well, there's a dry spot. Is that everybody who was wet? Okay, so let's try that. Let's try that indigo, just because it's such a pretty color. Right here. And I think that it's going to look really pretty as the centers of the purple flowers. The same indigo. Right? Like that. Stop! Look how pretty that is. And for the center of the other flowers, let's see how dark that is. Let's pull that off and see. I know, it's a big fat mess. I know it's a big fat mess, Nancy, but it's a cool big fat mess, right? Like these, I kind of want to build that. A little bit of depth. And do you see how I am purposely, I talked about this in my in my Bible journaling class this week, a technique that you might try when you're watercoloring is to not have every single space filled. Purposely leave some white areas, like here. I mean, it doesn't have to be big, but just leave some white areas that aren't completely covered in color, and you'll get such a cool painterly vibe from that. It just kind of happens, and it's fabulous. I'm feeling like the center of these should be burnt orange. Like, I'm gonna build that so it's a deep, deep burnt orange. So I'm just gonna start by filling the centers, and then I'm gonna dry it, and then add some more pigment and more pigment, building it so that that's the deepest, a nice, rich, deep burnt orange. You know, I decided to use Colorbursts because I got my nails painted white yesterday. And so it'll last about today. That's it. That's it. Like, this is such kind of a departure palette for me, but I'm really digging it. And now I'm feeling like I want to warm these up because this is feeling kind of cool. So I feel like I want to kind of warm it up with, let's try the orange first, just the centers of those little flowers. So here's what I did. I got these, I bought these, so you know I wear Color Street all the time. But when in the beginning, before I got colors, well, maybe right after I got them, I saw these, well, I saw somebody else's nails and I couldn't figure out what they had done. And so then I went, because it looks like rifle paper, doesn't it? So I went online and I found these at Ulta. They're not as nice as the ones that Color Street has. And I believe, it's just my opinion, but I believe because Ulta does lots of different products and Color Street does just nail wraps, that Color Streets are superior. And here's why. So yesterday I went and every now and again I'll just go and get a manicure at the salon because it's good nail care, right? So I just had them, I had a manicure and I just had her paint them white. And then I came home and I put these nail wraps from Ulta on. But they don't adhere as good, and they're almost kind of like sticky. I don't know. I'm hoping that kind of goes away, but I don't know. Okay, so I'm liking the little bit of orange in the center of those, but now I think I want to come in with just like a dot of the burnt orange in the center. Just deepen that even more. See if that gives me the depth that I'm kind of wanting, because I want this to kind of look like goldenrod. That's kind of where I'm going. And I'm wondering if the yellow was just too bright. I don't know. We'll see if I can fiddle around with it enough. Like, I feel like that is already giving me a little bit of depth that I was kind of going for. Oh, I need to do another coat of burnt orange in the center. And I'm going to kind of make it deeper color at the bottom of the circle-y center. Just so I'm going to get, like, I'll automatically get a little bit of weight and a little bit of depth. Right? It's going to look like this part is a little bit almost in the shadow of this. Right? Like, because this is so humpy and curvy, the underneath part is going to be a deeper color. That's kind of how I see it in my mind's eye. But remember, it's your painting. You do you. Okay. I'm liking it, but it feels like it needs something more to kind of give it some pizzazz. And I don't know what that is just yet. So I will keep working on it. But remember, it doesn't have to, be finished right now. I don't have to, if it's just not happening, remember we've said a million times, just set it aside. Set it aside and come back. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, you're going to come up back with such a, you're going to go, oh, I know, if I just add some white, or if I just add some black dots, or I don't know, whatever. I think that we could do, remember, I can show you the technique that I used when I painted the, this card. I'm going to show you this. So I just came in, hi Jen Campbell. I just came in with a little brush and I just made little dots of color randomly around my main images. And it doesn't matter if it's not a perfect circle because we're going to you're going to be coming back in with your pen anyway, right? So there we go. Now we can do the same with our, what was this? Merlot. So it's like a more controlled splatter, just like another technique that you can use to just kind of enhance your art. I like to do some big, some small, some barely there. Oh, whoops, it looks like I have, over here I don't have any. I want to do that. And sometimes it might get cut off, but that's okay because then it's kind of like it goes all the way to the edge, and we want it to look like it was a painting, right? Like it was, like it's continuous art. Turn this and hold my paper down because you know sometimes watercolor paper, and I'm using a round brush, so it's kind of a I'm not getting a circle kind of shape. And my paper is already kind of warped from all the water. It hasn't been flattened out yet. I know this looks crazy right now, but I promise it'll look cool in a minute. Promise. Okay, let's do some of our yellow. That'll brighten things up a little bit too. Just really random, really, I'm telling you, like just so random, like no rhyme or reason. That's how it's going to look the most natural, like it just kind of happened. I have not, but I have used them, and I have all kinds of them, because you know I don't deny myself any cuteness, Nance. But let's try those again. Let's try those next week. How about that? That'll be cool. So I'm gonna dry these. Did I get all of my colors, I wonder? Burnt orange and my... I didn't do green, but maybe that's okay. Like me, I could just continue to like just grow it, grow it, grow it, grow it, grow it. So next month, Nancy, do you take in the my art journaling class, Inspire Your Heart with Art? Because next month we're going to be using our jelly plates, and we're going to be, one of the things that we're going to play with is alcohol ink on that. But we could play with some cool techniques with alcohol inks in my art printables too. Come on, how cool would that be? So this needs to dry. So, okay, so we'll play with art. We're gonna play with alcohol inks in there a little bit, but any of these mediums, there's like a million different uses for them. Take a drink, everybody. So this, I want to lighten up a little bit, and so I'm going to do my water. I just want it to have a little bit more depth, and I feel like those jelly plates, I'm telling you right now, you're going to get addicted to them. I love them. And like I said, you just need copy paper. If you have deli paper, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too. But they're super fun. Okay, so let's take the paint cloth. There we go. That's kind of where I wanted it to go. And you see how that's just lifting. So this technique also, just know, I know that some people think it only works with distress oxides. It works with any water-based medium, right? So you can use this with anything. And the other thing that you could do is that you could mix up some Colorbursts as inks or as watercolors, and then come in and deepen the background or deepen the flowers. So let's see. I'll get another palette. Set this one aside. And then, let's see, what did we used? Peony, lemon yellow, and marigold? I don't remember now. I think it must, well, I don't know. There. There. Lemon yellow. There we go. Okay, so now we're just going to add water to these. Get ourselves a fresh brush. Now I'm going to use something kind of small because I really want to be kind of delicate in my in my application of color. So we could come in here and just do a slow build, right? We just want enough of a build where we are creating a contrast between whatever color is underneath it, right? And I'm just kind of doing it randomly. Because I don't want to mess with the white, the water speckly stuff that I've done. I don't want to mess with that. So I really like the way that I love that look. Not that I couldn't do it again. I certainly could. But I kind of like the placement of those random dots of white. So like this one is pretty light, so we could really build it up in the corner. And like I said, you can pull some of those colors and kind of mix, right? And then just deepen that. And that's going to create like a really cool So I'm just going to kind of stick to this quadrant, because remember we have 4 quadrants on this one. So we can 4 quadrants, you know what I mean. We can create this like 4 separate card fronts, right? Or you could do 4 A2s or 2 slimlines, and then you'd still have little bits and pieces that you could use on another card, which is kind of cool too. I think so. Let's take some of that, deepen it here. I'm just like slowly building that color. And just know, I mean, you could continue to build this. You could do some, you could splatter with this. You could splatter with these paints. You could splatter with some Dr. P.H. Martin's. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do to just continue to grow it, grow it, grow it. Yes. I'm loving it. Okay, how are we doing? So I'm going to set this aside because I want to show you that final step with this technique. So I think I have wet one there. Anything else wet? There. There. Okay. So now once all of your dots are dry, you're going to come back in with a skinny pen. So this is 005. And you're just going to go around those dots. Oh, let's see it. Wet blue. Like this. Like you're just going to make a scribbly, right? So it doesn't have to completely encompass this, because you want it to be really quite kind of random and organic, right? So seriously, it's just loose, sketchy circles around that dot of color. And you know, it's cool if a little bit of white shows in there too, because that's going to give it that really cool painterly vibe. And before you know it, it just looks so, because the flowers are drawn so sketchy, this, I feel like it really just kind of keeps that vibe going. And just because I did this background doesn't mean that I can't continue to paint on my flowers, right? So I think that one was a little bit wet. And I just wanted mine to kind of fill the space. I didn't want it to be anything but just like a space filler and just kind of a background. I didn't want it to serve a purpose of like building up the depth of things, or if it does that like just naturally, cool. But if it doesn't, that's okay. I just want my idea about this was to just create a cool background that coordinated but was also quite organic, because I feel like because the flowers are really organic and the flowers are really quite natural looking, I wanted to keep that vibe going. You don't want something super tight next to something that's really kind of loose and organic. So I hope that you played a lot today, and that you'll continue to play, and that you'll continue to get dirty hands like mine, and that you'll just lose yourself in color a little bit today. It's the greatest. It's the greatest. And then on Thursday, let's make these into cards. Let's paint some more, and then let's just keep making cards and then sending them out. I wrote 4 cards out this morning. I had a little moment, and so I wrote 4 cards out. So be looking in your mailbox. You never know who might be getting those. And I'm kind of feeling like I really want to do some white splatter on this to like just take it up one more notch. And I feel like I might want to cut them in 4s, cut it in 4 now, because then I could do 4 different techniques, or I could just do all one, kind of like I did with the first time I created this. And then for the neons, I cut it apart so I could do 4 different versions of the neons. So that's just it. I feel like with my art printables, the possibilities are endless, and I love that. I'm so grateful you took time out of your day to hang out with me and get artsy. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. And I can hardly wait to make art with you again on Thursday. Thank you so much, and I'll see you Thursday. Bye.